So, this is really funny, and by funny, I mean on top of ha ha he he, it's also like, God, I fucking hate these people. NBC News did a segment on radicalization on social media, including on YouTube, and they did this as if like there's this huge problem that needs to be addressed, and they're going to show you how bad the problem is. Watch.
Last name, shares a house with her mother.
Where is she now? Is she in the house with you now?
Yeah, I think she's downstairs with my son.
But social media is tearing them apart.
The things she sends me, I feel that I can't trust her if she's my mother.
She says a year ago, her mother started consuming right-wing content on social media.
This election was a military-grade sting operation.
And is now sharing videos about QAnon and anti-Semitic theories. Her mother declined to speak with us.
It's not that I think she's my enemy. It's that I'm afraid that she's being used as a weapon against me.
Researchers say this happens every day. So we performed an unscientific test. I took my Facebook account that had no followers or friends. I'm going to follow the top 3 right-leaning pages plus some dog content and see what happens. My colleague Melanie created a new account and did the same, but she went left 7 days.
A lot of people just commending President Biden's job so far.
What the hell did Joe Biden just say? Part 14. On Facebook and YouTube, clicking on whatever their algorithms suggest. Melanie's feed stayed with the issues at first.
Bernie Sanders chairs hearing on the high cost of prescription drugs.
But by day 3, it was a lot of one thing.
It's a lot from Occupy Democrats. That's kind of the dominating force on my page right now.
And mine just went more and more extreme, recommending new influencers. Now they're throwing me at Dan Bongino. Conspiracy theories by day 4.
Bigfoot believers. Really?
Nonstop anger by day 5.
Leftists are becoming the racists.
Same with Melanie's.
So the other day somebody sent me a link to Conservapedia, a Wikipedia made for and by conservatives. And it's pretty bad.
And by the end of the week, a steady diet of fear.
The world looks very dangerous on YouTube. Violent robbery caught on camera. Woman fires shots at home intruders.
Facebook had no comment. YouTube says that recent changes mean watch time of borderline content from recommendations has dropped by over 70% in the US. But researchers say the algorithms are geared to grab us. We click on extreme content, so the system gives us more extreme content.
Over time, that can actually give you the impression that some things that are more obscure or extreme are very much in the normal sphere of conversation.
The most successful influencers are the most extreme.
On Twitter, 73% of posts about politics are created by about 6% of Twitter users, and those 6% of Twitter users have very extreme views.
Jerusha now belongs to an online group for adults who've lost loved ones to politics on social media.
It makes it 10 times worse knowing that this is happening like everywhere in this country right now.
Jake Ward, NBC News, Oakland, California.
I'm going to say something controversial that you guys might not find controversial, but a lot of like polite society folks would find controversial. The weirdo in that clip is not whatever the family members are doing and watching. It's not the family members. It's the person who joined a support group for adults who have lost loved ones to politics on social media. That's the weird one. That person probably is incredibly narcissistic and ego-driven and demands attention and wants a ridiculous amount of time from some other people. And they're hurt emotionally at the fact that people found some interesting stuff that they happen to like on social media. A support group for adults who've lost loved ones to politics on social media. Get out of here, son. So that should have been the framing of this segment. Here's a weirdo who thinks that, you know, they've really lost loved ones to politics on social media. I'm sure it is super rare that you actually, like, lose a loved one and that, like, they're totally estranged from the family and they never talk anymore and all they do is bring up the political side. I highly doubt that's way less than 1% of cases. It's ridiculous. But they try to make it seem like this is the big issue facing America. And I love how on the screen at one point it says, does social media fuel political division? Do people fuel political division? Does cable news fuel political division? Fox News and MSNBC fuel political division? Colossally. Is that an argument that they shouldn't exist? Is that an argument that they should be censored or deplatformed or pushed down in the algorithm? No. The propaganda is so bland and stale and boring and obvious, but this is the stuff that actually shapes the way the executives at YouTube and other social media outlets, that's what shapes the way they think. So, I don't know if you saw there, but when they did the argument of like, the far left pipeline is also full of hate, they showed Shoe on Head. And Shoe on Head made the argument something along the lines of like, I went to Conservapedia, and boy, was it fucking bad. Have any of you ever... How do you run this without looking up Conservapedia? Did you not look at Conservapedia? It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Everything is so incredibly biased from a far right-wing perspective, and you read it, and I actually laughed when I read some of the things on Conservapedia, whether it's Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. Look up one of them. Abortion, whatever. Look up one of them. Planned Parenthood. It's amazing how terrible Conservapedia is. It's hilariously dumb. So June is 100% right, and there's nothing hateful about that. It's accurate to say that. But they use that as the go-to example of hatred on the left, which tells you what? There's no hatred on the left. There's very little, if any, hatred on the left. Most people on the left who are YouTubers, what are we talking about? Talking about jobs and wages and healthcare and corruption and endless war. We're talking about all that stuff. This is frustrating. But the real scary part was what? When they said, YouTube responded to the criticism from NBC News, and they said, watch time of borderline content has dropped more than 70% in the U.S. That's what we've been complaining about, is that we are considered borderline content. And they're saying, hey, we're digging it down in the algorithm, we're pushing it down in the algorithm, and watch time of borderline content drops 70%. That's what they're saying. And how much did our expanse, is that a word? How much did our expansion drop? 88%. 88. We're definitely labeled borderline content. And it screws us over, for sure. And it's devastating. I think it's unfair, because I would even argue that I'm not borderline by any stretch of the imagination. I'm upfront and honest with my opinions. I believe in universal health care. I believe in free college. I believe in ending the wars. I believe in legalizing marijuana and freeing all the nonviolent drug offenders. This is the stuff that I believe in. I believe in equality. This is what I believe in. And they act like I'm an extremist that's equal to like some sort of white supremacist. I'm labeled borderline content, and they destroy the channel. That's what's happening. And they admit it. They're bragging about it. They're telling NBC News, hey, get off our ass. We've already crushed the independent people. They're down 70%. Well, I'm down 88%. So I think the 18% that's the difference there, that would have been the normal drop if the algorithm wasn't screwing me. So in other words, the post-election normal drop would have been like 18%. But 70% of it is because the algorithm is screwing us. I mean, I'm sure I fucked up that math in 1,000 different ways, but you get the point. Some of the struggles are simply because after an election, fewer people are into politics. But probably most of it is because the algorithm is screwing us. And so, what's the main point of this segment? I'll explain it to you very simply. The main point of this segment is, hey, us here at NBC News want favorable treatment in the YouTube algorithm. We want our stuff pushed out on all the social media outlets. Stop pushing out independent voices or right-wing voices or far-left voices. Stop pushing out all that. Make us the authoritative sources and push our stuff out endlessly. That's really the angle that they're taking here. The real angle of NBC News is prioritize our stuff over this other crazy stuff. And so they're going to do a hit piece on the other crazy stuff so that YouTube gets scared and keeps pumping out the NBC News stuff. Because NBC News views all of independent news and politics as competition. And so they're doing an underhanded smear job so that YouTube crushes their competition for them. And other social media crushes their competition for them. That's what's going on here 100%.